The betrayal. Captain Ilara Vega stood at the viewport of the diplomatic vessel Terran Envoy, watching the massive crystalline structure of the Galactic Accord headquarters glitter against the backdrop of stars. The station was an architectural marvel, spanning 15 kilometers at its widest point, housing representatives from over 300 species. Humanity had only gained provisional membership 8 years ago, still infants in the eyes of civilizations that measured their histories in millennia. "Captain, we're receiving the docking protocols now," Lieutenant Maya Chen reported from her console. "ETA 20 minutes to complete docking procedures." Ilara nodded, brushing a strand of dark hair behind her ear. "Notify Ambassador Keller, and make sure our security detail understands the protocols. No visible weapons, no combat implants activated." "Yes, Captain." The quarterly summit was a routine diplomatic affair, but something about this meeting felt different. Several of humanity's usual allies had been suspiciously quiet in recent communications. The Volani, typically eager to partner with Earth on technological exchanges, had abruptly canceled 3 joint projects last month. The Meridian diplomats, once warm and forthcoming, had become formal and distant. Ambassador Julian Keller joined her at the viewport, his weathered face reflecting the starlight. At 63, he had been Earth's voice in the Accord since humanity's admission. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said, gesturing toward the station. "Hard to believe it's over 12,000 years old." "That's what concerns me," Ilara replied. 12,000 years of politics and alliances we still barely understand." Keller smiled tightly. "That's why they assigned you to this mission, Captain. Your instincts have saved diplomatic relations more than once." The Terran envoy docked smoothly with the station. As the delegation prepared to disembark, the Lara's communication implant chimed with an encrypted message. The sender identification was blank, a security violation that should have been impossible within the ship's protected systems. She stepped away from the group, accessing the message privately. A string of coordinates appeared, followed by a simple directive. "Maintenance Corridor 47B. Come alone." "Truth about summit." "Problem, Captain?" Keller asked, noticing her expression. "Minor security protocol issue," she lied smoothly. "I'll join you shortly." 20 minutes later, after seeing the delegation safely transferred to their quarters, Ilara followed the coordinates through the less trafficked sections of the station. Maintenance Corridor 47B was deserted, the ambient lighting dimmed to conserve energy. "I was uncertain if you would come," a voice whispered from the shadows. A tall, slender figure stepped forward, the 4 pupil-less eyes characteristic of the Volani blinking in sequence. "Delegate Xeris." Ilara recognized the alien diplomat immediately. "What's this about?" The Volani's skin shimmered with stress patterns. "I risk everything to meet with you. The summit is not what it appears." "Explain." 3 cycles ago, the Inner Council commissioned a study on emerging species and potential threats to galactic stability. Xeris extended a data crystal. Humanity was classified as a Category 1 extinction risk. Ilara took the crystal, her face betraying nothing though her pulse quickened. "On what grounds?" "Your neural plasticity, your adaptability, your history of internal conflicts that somehow accelerate your technological growth rather than destroy you." Xeris's voice dropped lower. "Most concerning to the Council is your species' empathic unpredictability." "Meaning?" "Humans can be both extraordinarily compassionate and ruthlessly violent, sometimes within the same individual. This duality disturbs many elder species." The Volani's secondary breathing membranes fluttered. "The Council has authorized the containment protocol." Ilara's blood ran cold. The containment protocol was the Accord's euphemism for the preemptive elimination of potential threats. It had been implemented only twice in known history, resulting in the complete extinction of the species involved. "When?" she demanded. "Now. This summit is a distraction. The Accord fleet is already in position near your most populated colonies. Nova Terra will be first." Nova Terra, the thriving colony world with a population of 12 million. humanity's proudest achievement in space. Why are you telling me this? The Volani supported the last containment action because, unlike the other targets, your species has shown kindness to mine. When the Cascadian drought struck my homeworld, human aid ships were first to arrive. Kateris stepped back. I cannot stop what comes, but I can give you this warning. You have perhaps 6 hours before. The station's lighting suddenly shifted to deep crimson, and an announcement in the ancient Accord language echoed through the corridors. What is that? Ilara demanded. The containment has begun early, Xeris whispered, horror evident in his posture. They must have detected my access to the classified files. Ilara was already running, activating her secure communication link to the Terran envoy. Code Black. Immediate evacuation. Alert Earth Defense Command. Accord hostilities imminent. She didn't wait for confirmation, sprinting through the corridors toward the diplomatic docking bay. Around her, station security forces were mobilizing, armed with weapons that should never have been permitted in a diplomatic zone. Ambassador Keller's voice crackled through her implant. Captain, what's happening? We're being detained in the summit chamber. It's a trap, sir. The Accord has activated containment protocol against Earth. They're targeting our colonies. Silence. Then. Understood. Get the ship out, Captain. That's in order. We'll try to reach the emergency shuttles. Ilara knew what Keller wasn't saying. The odds of the ambassador and his team escaping were virtually zero. Sir, I can divert to your location and... Negative. Captain. Warn Earth. That's your mission now. The connection terminated. Ilara reached the docking bay as the first explosions rocked the station. The Terran Envoy's crew had already initiated emergency departure protocols, breaking the docking clamps without proper sequencing. Captain on deck. Lieutenant Chen announced as Ilara burst onto the bridge. Status. Engines at full power. Docking clamps disengage. 6 Accord interceptors incoming. Evasive pattern Delta. Get us clear for a jump. Ilara took command, her voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. Communications. Patch me through to Nova Terra colony. The communications officer's face paled. Captain, Nova Terra is gone. The main view screen shifted to show a tactical feed. Where the vibrant colony world should have been, a debris field now orbited the sun. The Accord fleet had already moved on to its next target. 12 million lives, extinguished without warning or declaration of war. How many colony worlds do we have, Lieutenant? Ilara asked, her voice deadly calm. 17 major colonies, Captain. Another 34 outposts. And Earth. No reports of attacks yet. The Accord probably wants to eliminate our expansion capabilities first. The Terran envoy shuddered as enemy fire grazed their shields. 3 more Accord vessels appeared on sensors, attempting to box them in. Captain, we can't outgun them, the tactical officer warned. We don't need to, Ilara replied. We just need to outrun them. Plot a series of micro-jumps. Random pattern, maximum obscuration. As the ship prepared to jump, Ilara took one last look at the massive Accord station. For 8 years, humanity had sought friendship among the stars. Now they understood the true nature of the galactic community, not a brotherhood of sentient beings, but a hierarchy of power where emerging species were tolerated only as long as they posed no potential challenge. Jump sequence initiated, reported the navigation officer. As the stars blurred around them, Ilara made a silent vow. The Accord had made a catastrophic miscalculation. They thought they were eliminating a threat. Instead, they had awakened humanity's most primal instinct, survival at any cost. The Accord would soon learn why humans told stories of vengeance across every culture in their history. They would learn what it meant to face humanity's rage unleashed. The Reckoning. 6 months after what became known as the Nova Terra Massacre, humanity was hunted but unbroken. Earth had survived the initial onslaught, its orbital defense grid, and the sacrifice of the home fleet buying precious time for evacuation ships to scatter to hidden outposts and abandoned mining facilities across the galaxy. The Terran envoy, now scared and modified beyond recognition, served as the command vessel for what remained of Earth's military leadership. Hidden in the radioactive debris field of a destroyed moon, the ship had become the nucleus of humanity's resistance. Captain Ilara Vega, now bearing the field promotion of admiral, studied the tactical display in the vessel's war room. 14 smaller human ships surrounded the envoy, the pitiful remains of a once proud fleet. Yet what they lacked in numbers, they made up for in desperate innovation. "Status report," she ordered, looking at the assembled officers. Colonel Darius Wade, formerly of Earth's Special Operations Command, stepped forward. "Guerrilla strikes have been successful in the Arcturus and Procyon sectors. We've disrupted Accord supply lines and gathered valuable intelligence." Dr. Sophia Reyes, the brilliant xenotechnologist who had once led humanity's efforts to understand Accord technology for peaceful cooperation, now used that knowledge for survival. "The salvaged Accord communication node is fully integrated with our systems. We can intercept approximately 67% of their tactical transmissions now." "And the project?" Ilara asked quietly. Sophia's eyes gleamed with grim satisfaction. "Breakthrough achieved yesterday. We've confirmed it works on all tested Accord systems." The project had begun 3 months ago, when a desperate raid on an Accord outpost had yielded unexpected results. A dying technician had managed to directly interface with an Accord computer core, bypassing security protocols that should have been impenetrable. Further research revealed something astonishing. Human brainwave patterns interacted with Accord technology in ways the aliens had never anticipated. "Show me," Ilara ordered. Sophia activated a holographic display. Accord technology is partially psionic. Their dominant species evolved with limited telepathic abilities, so their systems are designed to respond to specific thought patterns. But human neural architecture is fundamentally different. The display showed comparative brain scans. Accord species thought patterns were structured, orderly, following predictable pathways. Human thoughts appeared chaotic, making connections across seemingly unrelated areas simultaneously. "Their security systems can't properly contain human thought patterns," Sophia continued. "Where they think linearly, we think associatively. It's like trying to contain water with a net." Colonel Wade leaned forward. "And the weapons applications? We've developed a neural interface that amplifies this effect," Sophia replied. "A trained operator can access, control, and if necessary, overload any Accord system. We call it Project Pandora." Ilara studied the tactical display, where the location of the Accord central hub glowed ominously. The massive station where everything had begun 6 months ago. "How many neural interfaces can we deploy?" she asked. 12 fully functional," Sophia answered. "We've trained 20 operators, with 6 showing exceptional aptitude." Ilara straightened, her decision made. "Then we're ready for Operation Thunderstrike." The plan was audacious to the point of insanity. A direct assault on the Accord central hub would be suicide under normal circumstances. But with Project Pandora, they had the element of surprise, a weapon the Accord couldn't anticipate or defend against. 3 days later, the human fleet emerged from FTL at the edge of the Accord central hub's defense perimeter. As expected, alarm signals immediately flooded the communication channels as enemy vessels moved to intercept. "All ships, initiate Phase 1, Ilara commanded. The human vessels scattered in a practiced maneuver, drawing Accord ships away from their carefully planned insertion point. Meanwhile, the single stealth shuttle detached from the envoy, carrying the Pandora team. 6 operators with their neural interfaces, protected by a squad of Earth's most elite soldiers. Colonel Wade, leading the ground team, reported from the shuttle. Approaching insertion point. Minimal resistance detected. On the envoy's bridge, Ilara watched as the battle unfolded. The human ships were outnumbered 10-1, but they fought with desperate ferocity, executing hit-and-run attacks that confounded Accord targeting systems. "Shuttle has docked," communications reported. "Team is proceeding to the central core." For 20 agonizing minutes, the battle raged as the human fleet absorbed punishment meant to shield the insertion team. 2 of their vessels were destroyed, their crews sacrificing themselves without hesitation. Then Wade's voice crackled through the comm. Team in position. Interfaces active. Beginning Pandora Protocol. On the massive Accord station, chaos erupted. Defense systems suddenly turned against their own ships. Docking clamps locked and refused to release. Life support systems cycled down in security sectors. Emergency bulkheads trapped station security forces away from critical areas. They've reached the main core, Sophia reported, monitoring the neural interface feeds. Accessing primary systems now. Through the station-wide communication system, Ilara's voice suddenly boomed in perfect Accord standard language. Attention Galactic Accord. This is Admiral Ilara Vega of Earth. Your genocide against humanity ends today. In the station's Grand Council chamber, the representatives of 300 species watched in horror as their secure doors locked and their emergency systems failed. On every display, the evidence of their crimes against humanity played in an endless loop. The destruction of Nova Terra, the hunting down of civilian refugee ships, the cold calculation behind the containment protocol. For the crime of attempted genocide, we could destroy this station and everyone aboard. Ilara's voice continued. We could use your own weapons against every homeworld represented here. That is what you expected from us. The violence you used to justify your preemptive strike. On the bridge of the Envoy, Ilara leaned forward, her voice dropping to a deadly quiet that somehow carried more weight than her previous words. But humanity chooses differently. We will not become the monsters you feared we might be. Instead, we offer you this choice: recognition of humanity as a sovereign power with all rights and protections thereof, reparations for the worlds and lives destroyed, and the permanent abolition of the containment protocol. Or we release the complete Pandora Protocol into every Accord system across the galaxy. She let the silence hang for a moment before delivering the final blow. You have 30 minutes to decide. Choose wisely. The Accord capitulated in 22 minutes. 3 days later, Ilara stood in the same council chamber where the order for humanity's extinction had been given. Now she watched as representatives from across the galaxy signed the Treaty of Sol, formally recognizing Earth and its remaining colonies as a sovereign power with full rights and protections. More importantly, the treaty established the responsibility doctrine, a new principle of galactic law that criminalized preemptive actions against emerging species and required evidence of actual hostility, not merely potential threat, before military action could be sanctioned. As the ceremony concluded, Xeris, the Volani who had risked everything to warn humanity, approached her. You have changed the course of galactic history, Admiral, the alien said quietly. Many feared you would use Pandora to establish human dominance. Ilara gazed across the chamber, where representatives from the remaining human colonies stood alongside allies both old and new. That's what you still don't understand about humans, she replied. We don't want dominance. We want partnership, equality, the opportunity to build something greater than ourselves. She turned to face the Volani directly. But we will never again allow ourselves to be vulnerable. The next species the Accord might have targeted now has a defender. As Ilara left the chamber, messages were already spreading across human settlements throughout the galaxy. Humanity had lost worlds and millions of lives, but they had gained something perhaps more valuable: respect born of both fear and admiration. The species that had been marked for extinction had instead forced a galactic power to confront its own darkness, and in choosing justice over vengeance, humanity had demonstrated exactly why they deserved to walk among the stars. The Accord had sought to contain what they feared might become a threat. Instead, they had helped forge humanity into something far more powerful, a force for change in a galaxy that desperately needed it.